Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've been watching the world of AI, you know it's not just moving fast, it's um, exploding with specialized models, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day it seems like there's a new one, right? Each amazing at something specific.
Exactly. Generating incredible images, writing code, even doing complex math problems.
It's a gold rush of specialized AI. Creates this massive amount of knowledge spread out everywhere.
But that's the tricky part, isn't it? For anyone actually building with AI, how do you bring all these individual geniuses together?
Right. Into one super team without losing what makes each one special.
And without getting totally lost in all the options.
That's the puzzle, yeah. And it leads us right to this really powerful idea, model merging.
Okay, model merging. So integrating the strengths of different models into one.
Precisely. But we're not just talking about any old merging today. We're diving into something pretty groundbreaking. Model merging of natural niches. M2N2 for sure.
M2N2. Got it. And you mentioned traditional merging had its problems.
Oh, definitely. Significant hurdles. It often struggled to really explore all the ways you could combine models. And crucially, keeping the diverse strengths intact. That was tough.
Like trying to blend paint, but only having a couple of big fixed brushes.
That's a great analogy, actually. Yeah.
So our mission today, unpack how M2N2, which is inspired by nature, an evolutionary algorithm, how it gets around those limits.
And the sources we looked at, they show some really game-changing stuff. M2N2 gets state-of-the-art results.
Okay.
It can even evolve models completely from scratch.
Wow, really? From random noise?
Yeah. And it scales up to the big guys' large language models, image generation models.
And efficiently. That's usually the catch.
Surprisingly efficient and versatile. So yeah, get ready for some aha moments about how things like competition, attraction, and these flexible boundaries are shaking up AI development.
It sounds like a big shift moving closer to how things actually work in, biology.
It really does. More organic, more adaptive.
Okay, so let's lay the foundation. Why is model merging such a big deal anyway? What specific problem is it solving?
Well, like you said at the start, the open source generative model world has just gone boom. Thousands of specialized versions out there.
Fine-tuned by people for specific tasks, right?
Yeah.
Like stable diffusion for anime versus photorealism.
Exactly. You've got this incredible wealth of knowledge, but it's fragmented. How do you consolidate that? How do you make one model that can maybe do anime and photorealism well without retraining everything?
Right, so how is merging different from just, say, fine-tuning a model?
Good question. Merging integrates strengths from multiple pre-trained models. Fine-tuning usually refines one existing model on new data.
Ah, okay. Multiple sources versus refining one source.
And a key thing, merging often doesn't need backpropagation. That's the heavy-duty math used in training to adjust the model's weights.
Which makes it faster
Yeah,
and less resource intensive.
much faster, yeah. Especially for these huge models. Plus, you often don't even need the original training data the models were built on, which is huge for privacy and practicality.
Makes total sense, especially with model sizes these days. So before M2N2 came along, how did people actually do this merging?
Well, initially it was often pretty manual, people adjusting coefficients, sort of like mixer knobs to blend models.
Like for stable diffusion, people mixing different community models?
Exactly that. Using techniques like linear interpolation or SLRP, spherical linear interpolation.
SLRP sounds fancy.
It's basically a way to find a smooth path between 2 points on a sphere mathematically. Think blending parameters smoothly. But yeah, it was a lot of trial and error, guided by intuition. Let's try 70% of this model and 30% of that one.
Wow, okay. Sounds tedious. What was the next step to automate that? And what problems did that automation bring?
Right, it was tedious. So evolutionary algorithms came into play, things like CMAES. They could automatically search for the best mixing coefficients. Big improvement in efficiency.
Okay, so automation helps find the best ratio.
Yes, but here's the catch. The critical point M2N2 tackles. Even with automation, developers still had to manually decide which parts of the models to group together before merging.
Ah, so you'd say, okay, merge these layers together and these layers together, fixed sets.
Precisely. You define these fixed groups, maybe entire layers, maybe attention blocks, and then the algorithm optimized the blending within those predefined boxes.
So you could automate how much to mix, but you were still stuck deciding what parts got mixed in those fixed ways. Seems limiting.
Severely limiting. It restricted how creatively the algorithm could explore combinations. You couldn't, say, easily blend half of one layer with half of another from a different model if they weren't in the same predefined group.
Okay, so that's the core limitation M2N2 aims to fix. getting rid of those rigid manual boundaries.
Exactly. How do we let the merging process itself be more flexible, more adaptive?
Which brings us to M2N2 itself, nature's blueprint, you called it.
Yeah.
How does it actually break down those walls?
So M2N2 is this evolutionary algorithm, and it just completely gets rid of that manual partitioning step. It uses mechanisms inspired by nature to let the algorithm figure out the best way to combine model parts.
Okay, let's unpack those features. Feature 1, evolving the merging boundaries. No more fixed groups. How does that work in practice?
Right. So instead of defining fixed groups beforehand, M2N2 merges two models at a time, but it uses flexible split points to divide the parameters.
Split points,
Yeah.
like deciding dynamically where to cut and splice.
Exactly. Imagine having Lego blocks, but instead of just sticking whole blocks together, you could precisely cut a block anywhere you want and fuse that piece with a piece from another block.
Okay, that allows for much more custom combinations.
Totally. M2N2 maintains this evolving archive of models. It's not just working with the initial ones. As it runs over generations, it explores more and more possible split points and blending coefficients.
So it gets progressively more complex in how it combines things.
Yes, but gradually, which keeps it computationally manageable. It finds increasingly intricate and hopefully beneficial ways to merge. And within those dynamic boundaries, it still uses SLRP to do the actual interpolation, the blending, but the boundaries themselves evolve.
That's a fundamental change. Much more granular control.
Yeah.
Okay, feature 2, managing diversity. You said merging works best with diverse models. How does M2N2 keep that variety alive, like an ecosystem?
Yeah, diversity is key. You want to avoid premature convergence, basically, the algorithm getting stuck on a pretty good solution too early without exploring potentially better, more diverse options.
And defining diversity manually is hard.
Incredibly hard, especially as models get complex. How do you tell an algorithm what kind of diversity is useful for a specific task?
So M2N2 takes a different route.
It does. Instead of defining diversity, it incentivizes diversity, as nature does, through competition for limited resources.
Okay, competition for resources. How does that translate to AI models?
Well, think about the goal. Maximizing performance on some task, usually measured by scores on data points. M2N2 treats each data point's potential score as a limited resource. It sets a cap, a capacity, on the total score or fitness the entire population of models can get from any single data point.
So if one model aces a particular data point, there's less reward left there for others.
Exactly. It sparks competition. It naturally encourages models to find and excel at different niches data points where other models aren't performing as well. It's called implicit fitness sharing. Diversity emerges naturally because specialization gets rewarded.
That's really elegant. Let the competition drive the diversity. Okay, and the third feature, attraction, smart mate selection.
Yeah, think about it. The crossover, the actual merging operation, can be computationally expensive. You want to make sure you're merging pairs that are likely to produce good offspring.
Makes sense. Like in biology, choosing a mate is a big deal.
Right, so conventional methods might just pick the top two performing models and merge them. M2N2 adds this extra layer, complementarity.
Complementarity, meaning they fill each other's gaps.
Precisely. After picking the first parent model, based on its performance, M2N2 chooses the second parent based on an attraction score. This score favors models that do well on data points where the first parent is weak.
So it actively seeks out a partner that covers its weaknesses.
Yes, it prioritizes those resources, the data points, that still have high capacity, meaning potential for improvement and low competition. It's trying to find pairs that together cover more ground effectively, a smart way to pick merging partners.
Wow. Flexible boundaries, competition driving diversity, and smart pairing based on complementarity. It sounds incredibly powerful in theory. How did it actually do in the experiments?
The experiments really back it up. Let's start with the MNIST classifiers, the handwritten digits. They tried evolving them both from scratch and using pre-trained models.
Okay, classic benchmark. What happened from scratch?
From scratch, using just a simple two-layer network, M2N2 got the highest test accuracy by a substantial margin compared to other emerging methods.
Better than just standard genetic algorithms.
Yeah, much better. Generic GAs tended to lose diversity and converge too early. M2N2's diversity mechanism prevented that. And interestingly, it even outperformed CMAES, which directly optimizes the model weights, not just merging coefficients.
And CMAES is usually quite good, but expensive.
Really expensive computationally. It scales cubically with the number of parameters. M2N2 took about an hour on CPUs for this. CMAES took 15 hours.
15 hours versus 1 hour. That's huge.
Massive difference. And MAP Elites, another evolutionary approach, struggled because defining useful diversity metrics for it was tricky, highlighting the benefit of M2N2's implicit diversity.
Okay, strong start.
Hmm.
Better accuracy, way faster. What about when starting with pre-trained models, like the ones specialized for digits 0, 4, and 5, 9?
In that case, the flexible split point and the attraction score features became really crucial for getting top performance. It showed these mechanisms aren't just for building from nothing, they're also really good at intelligently combining existing specialized knowledge.
Adaptable. Okay, so it works well for image classification. How does it handle the really big stuff, like large language models? Combining different skills there seems like a major challenge.
That was experiment 2. The goal was to merge specialized LLMs to get multitask abilities.
Which models did they use?
Wizard Math 7b, which is good at math, and Agent Eval 7d, good at agentic tasks like navigating environments, both based on Llama 2.7b.
And the goal was a single model good at both math benchmarks like GSMAK and something like simulated web shopping.
Exactly, a multi-skilled agent.
How did M2N2 do?
It got the highest average scores across both tasks, significantly beating other methods. And again, CMAES didn't do well here, specifically because of suboptimal parameter partitioning.
Highlighting again the benefit of M2N2's flexible boundaries for these complex models.
Absolutely. Both attraction and the split point were important, with the split point maybe slightly more critical in this LLM case.
Beyond just the scores, what else did this LLM experiment show?
This really drove home the benefits of M2N2 being gradient-free. First, stable fusion without catastrophic forgetting. That's huge.
Meaning it didn't forget the math skills when it learned the shopping skills.
Exactly, a common problem when you fine-tune sequentially. Second, it showed you can merge models trained on totally different objectives. Third, lower memory footprint because no gradients. And fourth, you preserve capabilities without needing the original training data.
That last point seems massive. You can create custom mixes of powerful models without needing access to potentially private training data sets.
It's a really big deal for collaboration, privacy, and just practical model building. A paradigm shift, potentially.
Okay, so images, LLMs, what about combining those, merging diffusion models for image generation, maybe even across languages?
That leads us to experiment 3, merging text-to-image diffusion models. They took JSDXL, which is trained for Japanese prompts,
Okay.
and merged it with several English-focused models, like the base SDXL 1.0 and others.
The goal being better image quality overall, but crucially, keeping the ability to understand Japanese prompts from JSDXL.
Precisely. A bilingual image generator, essentially.
How did they approach that? Did they merge everything?
They merged the core parts, the UNets, specifically the attention layers within them, but they smartly kept other components like the VAE, image decoder, the tokenizer, and the text encoder from JSDXL.
To preserve his Japanese language understanding.
Clever.
Very. And the results were quite striking.
Visually.
Visually, the merged model produced more photorealistic images. It also showed better semantic understanding. Like a Japanese prompt asking for a bike with a specific detail like a registration number display area, the merged model captured that realistically, where others might miss it or look more fake.
Impressive detail. But what about the bilingual part? Did it actually work?
This was maybe the most surprising finding. Despite being evolved only using Japanese captions during the M2N2 process.
Only Japanese.
Yes, the final merged model showed good understanding of both Japanese and English.
Yeah.
Emergent bilingualism. Wow, so it learned English capabilities just by merging with English models, without being explicitly trained or evaluated on English during merging.
Exactly. It shows this incredible ability to aggregate complementary knowledge, the image quality from the English models, the language understanding from the Japanese one, without catastrophic forgetting. It just sort of soaked up the English understanding implicitly.
That's fascinating. This suggests the knowledge is stored in compatible ways.
It really does. M2N2's flexibility allowed it to combine these latent capabilities. Quantitatively, it scored better on CLIP similarity, meaning the images matched the prompts better,
Okay.
and it beat CMAES on FID score, which measures image quality and diversity.
And they confirmed the bilingual part statistically.
They did. They generated images from Japanese prompts and their English translations. The M2N2 model had much higher cosine similarity between the image pairs, 0.787, compared to the original JSDSL, 0.701, confirmed cross-lingual consistency.
So, M2N2 evolves from scratch, combines complex LLM skills without forgetting, creates emergent bilingual image models. It really does seem revolutionary.
Yeah.
Are there any downsides, limitations? What's next?
Well, yeah, it's not magic. Merging still relies on the models being, somewhat similar or compatible.
Right, you can't just merge a weather model with a poetry generator and expect miracles.
Probably not. If models are too divergent, their internal structures might just be incompatible, like trying to breed species that are too far apart.
Is there a way to measure that compatibility?
Not yet, really. That's a big area for future work, developing a standardized metric for model compatibility. That could help predict if a merge is likely to work.
Makes sense. Know before you try.
And the sources had this interesting hypothesis. Maybe models that co-evolve together develop pressure to stay compatible.
Oh, like natural selection. If a model mutates too much and becomes incompatible, it can't merge successfully, so its genes don't get passed on.
Kind of like that, yeah. An evolutionary pressure to remain mergeable within its group or species.
That's a cool idea. And that could tie into the attraction feature, too.
Potentially, future research might build a compatibility score into the attraction heuristic. So models would be attracted not just based on complementary skills, but also on predicted compatibility.
Allowing different species of models to coexist and merge within their own groups.
Exactly, leading to maybe even more structured and diverse AI ecosystems.
Well, this deep dive really showed how M2N2 uses these nature-inspired ideas, dynamic boundaries, competition, attraction, to fundamentally change model merging.
It's moved beyond just averaging parameters or optimizing fixed blocks. It's a much more adaptive, intelligent way to combine knowledge.
From scratch, evolution, combining LLM skills, emergent bilingualism, all without catastrophic forgetting. It's impressive.
It really feels like a robust, adaptable way to do transfer learning, constructing powerful new models from existing parts.
So for you, the listener, what's the takeaway? This isn't just abstract AI research. It seems like a practical shortcut.
It really could be a way to harness the explosion of specialized AI models, build custom, highly capable systems more efficiently, more robustly. It accelerates how we can discover and apply AI.
A powerful tool in the toolkit.
Definitely. And it leaves you thinking, if competition and complementarity, these ideas from nature, work so well here for merging models,
Yeah.
what other natural principles could we apply? What other complex tech challenges could we solve by looking at how ecosystems, evolution, or even, social dynamics work? How far could this natural niches idea go?
A very provocative thought indeed. Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into M2N2.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you next time.